In this video, we're going to talk about factoring by grouping. It's another method that we have to factor equations in order to find roots and zeros and to simplify our equations. So we're just going to do a couple examples. I find with factoring by grouping, it's just easiest to see how it's done. So the first example we're going to do is this one here. X cubed plus 7x squared plus 2x plus 14. And what you want to do is you want to group the first two terms and group the last two terms. That is assuming they're in order. Now, I'm going to take out any common factors they have. X cubed and 7x squared, they both have an x squared in common. So when I take x squared out of x cubed, I end up with just 1x. And when I take x squared out of 7x squared, I end up with 7. This second parentheses, 2x and 14 have a 2 in common because they're both even. I take 2 out of 2x, I end up with x. I take 2 out of 14, I end up with 7. And that's the goal, is that this parenthesis and this parenthesis are the same thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to factor these out. So I'm going to take this x plus 7 out of both of those. So I put the x plus 7 in front, and then I write what's left. Well, I've got an x squared in the first term, and I have a plus 2. And that's as far as I can factor that one. If I wanted to go on and find zeros from here, I could, but this is factoring by grouping. Let's do another example. So once again, I'm going to factor or group the first ones. And you have kind of a problem here because you have a minus 12x. So when I group this one here, I'm going to group this whole thing, including the minus, and I'm just going to make myself a little note to put a plus in between there. So this first one, they both have an x in common, so I can factor it out. They don't have anything else. If I factor an x out of 3x squared, I end up with 3x. And if I factor an x out of xy, I just end up with y. There's that little plus I put in there. Now, factoring out the second one, remember what I said, you want them to look the same. So I want this parenthesis to be over here the same. Well, in order for that to happen, they both have 4 in common, but I'm going to make it a negative 4. So I get this to be a positive 3x. So I'm going to factor a negative 4 out of the second ones. And I end up with 3x. And negative 4 factored out of negative 4y leaves me a y. Now I've got the same thing here and here. I can factor that out front. And write down what's left. Plus a minus is same as minus.